Hello everybody, I'm Liz. Welcome to French Toast and Books, and today we're talking about 2021 book releases for the month of January. So I know I had in my previous video asked about maybe ideas on how to talk about my anticipated 2021 book releases, and I racked my brain to try to decide if I should try to whittle it down to some of my most anticipated, or if I should just talk about them all via month or genre, and I decided month by month basis would be great so that when I discover new books I can add it for the next month and I won't feel so blindsided when all these new books come out, because I'll throughout the year continue looking for new book releases, especially since most books from June, July on, especially the second half of the year, have yet to be announced yet. It goes to show that even though for a majority of the second half of the year hasn't been announced yet, I have roughly 68 books already that I am super excited for this year. The 2021, the authors have been showing us that they can still write and produce amazing works of art. So I'm so excited. For January, we have 14 books specifically. I will get into them based upon expected anticipated release date. The first 3 books I have are set to be released on the 5th of January. First up, we have Persephone Station by Stina Leicht. I'm not sure how to say your last name. Hopefully I don't butcher it too much. This is a space opera heist story with a stunning cover, with a mostly women cast, with queer, LGBTQ+, POC casts of characters, and it just sounds epic. I've heard some preliminary reviews on this already, and I've heard that the world building and the backdrop for all of these characters are fantastic, and so I am so excited. Next up is One of the Good Ones by Maika and Maritza Moulite, and this one just sounds so tragic in a good way. This one also centers around people of color, particularly in the brunt of Black Lives Matter. This book centers around 2 sisters who are really dealing with the tragic death of their third sister due to mysterious circumstances, and the person who died in question is a social justice rally activist, and so I'm really excited to just kind of see how their grief impacts their family dynamic and how they go through life in memory and remembrance of their sister. And last up is Lore by Alexandra Bracken. This sounds like a very interesting Greek mythology spin for a young adult fantasy, and the cover is another one that looks just gorgeous. As you can tell with the cover, it looks kind of like Medusa element retelling. I know there's going to be a pact with Athena. Essentially what happens is, in this day and age, Greek gods come to the earth as mortals, if I'm reading the synopsis correctly, and each deity is paired with a counterpart, and it's kind of like they're being hunted. It sounds pretty interesting, and I'm really excited to see what happens. Next, we have the 12th of January. I only have 1 book for this. I am so excited for it. It is called The Lost Manuscript by Cathy Bonaden. It's this mystery type of journey story that just sounds really interesting. It's a woman, she goes to a motel, finds this manuscript, reads it, and decides that not only is the story awesome, but she wants to contact the author to figure out more about this author and what sparked the story in the manuscript. And it kind of reels into this interesting mystery, because we find out that the manuscript wasn't actually finished by the author, it was finished by somebody else, and she decides to go and try to find this mystery author, and it sounds so good. The 19th of January has a ton of books coming out that I am way looking forward to. I can't even believe that 7 books come out on the 19th that I am so excited for. First up, we have Last Night at the Telegraph Club by Malinda Lo. This is a historical book set in the 50s in San Francisco. It's supposed to be a people of color cast with queer color characters, female romance, and it just sounds like a great commentary of the time period, and I just am here for it. Next is Rise of the Red Hand by Olivia Shada. This is another people of color cast with queer characters. It's sci-fi. I believe the main character has a robotic hand, and it's set with a lot of Southern Asia government themes. In a sense, the synopsis has kind of a split society. We have the ruling upper class and the lower class that's kind of poor in poverty, and they're struggling with these technological advancements, and so there's going to be potentially a lot of tension and rebellions, and it just sounds so good. Next, we have a debut called Hall of Smoke by H.M. Long. This is a Viking fantasy with magic. It has a lot of stellar little blurbs on its Goodread page by other authors with lyrical writing and high stakes fantasy elements that I am here for. Next, we have Remote Control by Nnedi Okorafor. I love this cover so much, and the synopsis just sounds so good. What I gathered from it is a short book, it's a novella, and essentially it centers around Death's adoptive daughter. There's also a fox spirit guide that sounds just very interesting. There's sci-fi elements where basically somebody can look into a city and basically destroy it, and everything that I've been reading about it just sounds so amazing. I can't wait for it. Another one I am super stoked for is The Forever Sea by Joshua Phillip Johnson. This gives me mad Treasure Planet vibes. Essentially, there's floating ships. It's this epic fantasy journey where our main character goes to find a lost city. There's pirates, and basically he's chasing after his mother, where at the edge of the world there's nobody knows what's going on, but he's gonna go figure it out, and he's pretty sure there's a lost city, and it just, like I said, it just gives me Treasure Planet vibes and like the Lost City of Atlantis vibes. Reading the synopsis, it sounds so good. Next up, another one like I said, I'm excited for all of these, but I'm going to say this every single time because it just sounds so good, is If I Tell You the Truth by Jasmin Kaur. This is another people of color cast. We have an undocumented Canadian immigrant trying so hard not to get deported and raise her daughter, and it just sounds, it sounds so good, especially when her child discovers things about her past that may not be exactly moral. Jasmin Kaur is known for very lyrical, poetic writing, and I'm here for it. If you want to get a little bit more information on the story, essentially it's the mom was assaulted by her fiance's brother, and that's what involves the pregnancy and what uproots her from her life in India to Canada, being an undocumented immigrant. And obviously that's going to be very tragic for her daughter to find out and have to process. Last but certainly not least for the 19th is Cast in Firelight by Dana Swift. This is another supposedly people of color cast, although it is not own voices, because the author specifically stated that she wrote this for her mixed race children. She wanted to represent mixed races and people of color in literature. So with the help of her husband, she wrote this fantasy where two magical heirs unite to try to save both of their countries, and I am so ready for this. We have one book set to release on the 21st. It is called Girl A by Abigail Dean. It is a mystery suspense titled The Girl Who Escaped. It seems like her parents were possibly occultish, possibly killers. I'm not exactly sure. It's very vague in the synopsis. I just know that it's the girl who survived a tragic family story and upbringing, and as an adult she's revisiting her past and kind of working through all that child trauma, and it just sounds so good. Now, the last two stories in this 14 book bind up is set to release on the 26th. So we'll talk about these two. First up is Bride of the Sea by Aman Khatan. This also just sounds so good. It's another people of color cast. It's a debut story. It's supposed to be very lyrical and beautiful, but it has some really dense, difficult subject matter. Essentially, a woman is divorcing her husband, and this divorce is really, really, really messy, and it prompts her to abduct their child and run off and raise this child on her own, away, like separate countries away from her ex-husband. And in this sense, it makes her lie to her child for years. Now the child is, I believe, an older teenager or an adult, learning about her background and investigating what happened to her father, and kind of finds this messy past, like breaks open the lid to this lie of her life, and she's trying to figure that out. Lastly, we have Wings of Ebony by J.L. This is another people of color story. It's a debut book also, which, oh, there's so many good debut stories coming out next year. I am thrilled. This one basically sets where our main character is half god, half human. Her mother dies, and so her god of a father whisks her away to live with him, and she's kind of confined to the city, supposed to leave her past behind in the mundane world, and she can't really consolidate not just her grief, but also this newfound society, and so she's gonna rebel and find her own way, and it just sounds so good. Alright, there you have 14 books set to release in January that sound so amazing. I'm so ready for them, and I don't know how I'm going to potentially read all of these, or even possibly afford them if I'm going to add them to my shelves. We'll find out. Please let me know if you've heard of any of these books. If I mentioned one, are you excited about it too? If you've heard about it, if you haven't heard about it, I hope I geared you up for some exciting new releases. And please in the comments down below tell me what book or books are you most excited for, whether it's January or any books out of the exciting, amazing stories that we will have for next year. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will leave all of these books down below. They're Goodreads and Amazon links, so you can check them out if you would like to get more information, as I was very brief with my synopsises and perceptions of each story. And I hope that you'll stick around. Remember that I love you guys, and until next time, bye.